Okay, it makes sense later.
He told me relatively early on, I'm thinking at the end of this season, it would be really great if you vomited up an ear. Do you have any thoughts about whose ear it should be?
Like, no. Obviously based on the world we have development of one thing to another, and we be his teacher.
But underneath all of that, there's this thing between Will and Hannibal, and just generally having encephalitis. So I do remember the first day working with Scott Thompson. Scott had this really charming quality of seeming to be bewildered that he was in the show.
What are you doing with your face?
Well, he's one of the funny characters. One of our directors, said, okay, let's do the straight version, the non-funny version. And Scott said, that was the one I just did.
Were you ever grossed out on set? Spitting out of the ear?
No. I mean, honestly, I loved it. I mean, I was birthed from a stag.
Score 72.
Delaware. My name is Will Green. I was birthed from a stag.
There's a lot of blood in the show, and yeah, you both get covered in a lot of blood. What were those days like? There's a lot of excitement for that.
Strangest applause line I've ever heard. There's multiple types of blood, right? There's the blood with makeup department, and there's the blood with the costume department, there's the blood with the special effects department, and then they will argue about who has a lot of blood. To my memory, you end up just with all of it.
They have one thing in common, it's sticky, and a lot of it has a certain amount of sugar or honey in it, but it is just a super sticky thing, and for a smoker like me, it's super annoying.
Did you have a favorite murder or blood of the show?
I like Cello Man.
That one is rough.
I like killing Tobias.
I did not take a break. That's
I ate it.
I mean, I'm sure we were doing that without speaking about it, like bouncing off each other, mirroring each other.
I think there was a constant cat and mouse game between, and we were not always sure who was the cat, who was who. But it's interesting because Hannibal had never ever thought about it. He was the man on this in the present. And for once, short.
Okay, for me,
Well, you know, you want to know what? Yeah, you all just take it for granted that he's part of that future.
What was your favorite part about working on the show?
There wasn't one.
If you don't play your own characters, which other characters would you want to play?
Children. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I'm sorry, man. Yeah.
It's just amazing what he goes through and survives. It's like that feeling you can't kill, coming back. But I remember that scene where I walk down the alley of cells, and I come up to Andrea, and I'm standing on there as a free man, and I say, hello. And I think it was beautiful. And then we had like tons of scenes with the bars between the rows, super tricky to shoot, but it was just so fantastic to be out there. Also because I knew I was going to get involved.
Well, I got in last night and got drunk with Nancy. It was actually last night and got drunk with Nancy. It was
Haven't seen much of Chicago, but what I see here,
Shameless.
Shameless. But it's low-hanging fruit there.
Low-hanging fruit. Says that I love Chicago.
What were your favorite outfits that you wore during the show?
You were wearing the same.
I just wore the same thing over and over again. Well, there was that shirt. I did get, when we went to Italy, I kind of suddenly got a nice suit, inexplicably. Yeah. And then I got shot. So that was the end of that.
The kill suit, I kind of liked, but it was a pain in the ass because it was so warm. But my favorite suit was the gray and red.
I think I'm right in saying that Ryan had that same suit made for himself.
Yes, with a giant size. I just stole it when we were done. And then, I really want to get this present. I will give you that red suit, but I can't find it.
Why did you show us a little dark? What was it from? Or was it not clear?
No, it's one that I've barely seen. More than any other TV show I've ever worked on. So much time to take the lights away.
Do you have a favorite comic book from your characters?
See, I don't think this is particularly in line with those regular phrases, but this is your social notes. It's a good line. There's one line that maybe shouldn't have been in there, in the sense that I think Ryan wrote it, he's like, oh, I can't wait to see him what say it is. So,
It is a great one.
it's a great line.
And I think even Hannibal was surprised when you said it. He was like, no, my friend was never so to do it. I think maybe that's like, it's my own as well. When Hannibal says, nothing here is nothing here.
It's what you say.
Toughest episode to film?
Galera, aqui essa área com o próximo jogo grátis da Epic Games.
Today, or actually, this is going to be my new Plex server. I am overkilling and using this for Plex and transcoding and all sorts of jazz. I have a pretty hefty big Plex, a lot of media on it, and I have a very old computer. And the appeal of having only, 65 watts being used inside the house, paired with something as badass as this, is just overkill, but it's really cool. So this one is MS01. It has a 2 terabyte NVMe drive in it, and it had about 96. I have 2 DIMM slots in here, which are carrying 96 terabytes, 96 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM in here. Now the MS01 doesn't officially support 96 gigs. However, I've been working with it with no problems whatsoever. So, and it does support. And as many of you know, on the internet, this would make a very good server. I don't want to get too much into the teardown for this video because it's mostly focused about this. But maybe I'll start talking about it. So I think these 2 ports right here, the USB-C ports for 40 gigs each, are so under talked about. I used this at one point in my server rack downstairs, and I connected 2 other servers via these 40 gigs. So you get, for internet, I use these for Ethernets instead of the 2 10 gig SPF ports, and these things rip so bad. They're so awesome. But anyway, all right, let's put this aside because that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is taking the shroud off of this. I ordered this piece of beautiful equipment from Nerdware. It came from Belgium, and it took a while to come. It took probably about 3 months to come, 2.5 months. But this thing is absolutely beautiful. This thing has heft to it, solid copper. I believe it's copper. You could probably sell it just for the copper parts and probably get more money than what this thing is worth. So it cost me about $80, well, 80 euros, with all the jazz. I love that it came with its own little, front piece, because truthfully, I lost the front piece to this. And then we have some more parts in here to put it on. So let's get into it. We're going to start by taking the shroud off of this, and we have our paste. We have our little thing here. It's, bunker in. Yeah. Alright. So let's make sure we disconnect fan. There it goes. A little scary. Let's put that to the side. This fan is beefy in here, by the way. It's a pretty big freaking fan. Alright, so we gotta take out this heat sink. It makes me a little worried that they put such a huge heat sink on this. Wondering if it really needed to be that, if this part really does run that hot. It's a CPU in the gadget. I could actually zoom in a little bit. Shall we try doing that? You can see my nail. Alright, that's pretty cool. I'm going to just shift it a little bit more. Alright. So we got the paste, and we got the thermal pads here. So let's see what this looks like. Alright. So we've got a couple of screws. We have a thermal pad that matches this. Then we have another thermal pad that matches this. Perfect. We're in business. Okay. Alright, so let's get this wiped off. I'm going to keep recording. I don't know this thing that you imagine. Okay. We're going to get some rubbing alcohol. Alright. We're looking good and sexy. Okay. So, let's take a look to see how this actually will go. Alright, so this is going to go like this. So it looks like it's going to fit. So it does sit on top of it, however, it does look like maybe it will fit.
Yeah, so that was an experiment on what's the right amount of episode. Episode 2 is longer than episode 1, bigger, and people like that better. But it also took longer. It took longer to make, and people didn't like it as much as they liked Half-Life or Half-Life 2 kind of scope, right? So I say that's solving a lot of problems here, or just making a sideways trade-off. I think that's maybe the way I felt about it.
Even into episode 3, I still don't know what that would have been if we built it, because it hadn't been built. That was the feeling of excitement of something I can't even imagine is going to happen with as a team. I was not like imposing like a top-down, this is what we must do to tell our very important tale. It's like, oh, we have new features? Like, how do we use, what kind of story can we do with these now?
Well, I was on 3, and I was working on this gun called the ice gun that basically let you create amorphous shapes out of ice. So you could like raise a little ice wall in front of yourself, and you can attach it and combine soldiers would shoot holes in it, and it would shatter and break like kind of glass, I guess. So that was the primary mode. That you could build ledges for yourself to get down, cliff faces. It had another mode, kind of like a Silver Surfer mode where you would extrude the ice in front of yourself and then run along it and use it to cross gaps, go over chasms and things like that. What else do we have? It was set in the Arctic because it was around the center of Borealis.
I remember the little lobby squishy.
Oh yeah, Brian was working on the blobs. So we had the iso surfaces that we ended up using in Portal for paint. So we had that as an enemy. It was a blob enemy, and it could change its shape, and you could choreograph its shapes with some content tools. And then it could also split into little hoppy blobs that could, they were almost like little head crabby things, but they were little splats that would hop around. And we were doing all kinds of stuff with that. It could pass through grates.
You could get more input out of something where you had maybe a couple of creatures with simpler behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
And then you would spend time combining them and combining them with other game mechanics.
The story was never the boss of anything. It was always, we worked on a peer-to-peer thing. We were all gonna, what can we do? What do you think would be cool?
It was still a collection of like playable levels in no particular order, and a collection of story beats and story concepts. And we were still like probably another 6 months we would have had critical mass of like mechanics, and then start putting in timeline. And I think probably a year and a half easily, depending on how ambitious we got. Could have been 2.5. Yeah,
Probably hard to be less honest.
yeah. I'm pretty surprised on it when we moved to Left 4 Dead. I don't know, we were moving that pretty just close.
I thought that we needed to go much bigger on episode 3 or do something else, because I don't know if this is the way I would describe it, but element fatigue. I think we had really explored a lot of what made sense in the Half-Life universe and setting. Arcane was building a Ravenholm game, and even they were having trouble doing cool new stuff with this tool set. Like, if those guys can't figure out a bunch of cool stuff to do with this, I think we're running out of the fuel.
Episode 3's coming along. I was like, well,
What's the new big thing here? It's got to be bigger than all the stuff we just did. Maybe even episode 2. It's like, oh my god.
yeah, it's become.
Are we allowed to cry when we stop mentioning that song?
Left 4 Dead needed kind of an all-hands-on sort of an effort to ship. And so we put down F3 to go help Left 4 Dead. And it was a really tight shipping schedule, and it required a lot of work from everybody to get out the door. And it was worth it. I mean, Left 4 Dead came out great. But it took long enough, and this is the tragic and almost comical thing about it. It took long enough that then by the time we considered going back to episode 3, the argument was made like, well, we missed it. It's too late now. And we really need to make a new engine, and to continue the Half-Life series and all that. And now that just seems in hindsight so wrong. We could have definitely gone back and spent 2 years to make episode 3.
And you can't get lazy and say, oh, we're moving the story forward. That's copping out of your obligation to gamers. And yes, of course they love the story. They love many, many aspects of it.
We're sort of saying the reason to do it is because people want to know what happens next. You know, we could have shipped it. Like, it wouldn't have been that hard. You know, the failure was, my personal failure was being stumped. Like, I couldn't figure out why doing episode 3 was pushing anything forward.
But yeah, I mean, some of those people may have left it 2 and then pulled it 2.
Yeah, we did other things instead.
It's not like that choice we made 3.
Right.
In terms of the players, like, they may have gotten that and not.
And given up something
Something
else.
else, yeah. So it's hard to say.
But a lot of us have been doing Half-Life for 8+ years.
We saw a bunch of really compelling reasons to go explore more multiplayer-based projects too, because not only just what customers were getting, but internally, we found ourselves wanting to play a lot of multiplayer.
It sounds silly to say it because we're a relatively big company that has a bunch of stuff, but we're not that many people. There's 300 something people here, and so we're working on a bunch of different projects, and it's like people are passionate about Portal, people are passionate about TF, people are passionate about Left 4 Dead and Half-Life, and CS and Dota, Deadlock. I mean, there's a lot of things there, and I also work on hardware, so I work on Steam Deck and the original Steam controller and trying to get on VR. Unfortunately, for any decision we make, somebody is going to be unhappy, but hopefully we're making a bunch of people happy with the choices we can make.
If it weren't for the episodes, there'd be no such thing as Dota. And I know that sounds really weird, but it was the things that we learned in developing the episodes that led to, Team Fortress, to more rapid updates.
I think everybody that worked on Half-Life misses the working on that thing, but it's also hard not to be like, man, I am kind of seeing every way we fight an antlion or whatever, and so you want to get some space away from it until you can come back to it with fresh eyes.
It was easy to think about VR being a vehicle for Half-Life because that was a big technological innovation and kind of a core reason for that product's existence. And I think one of the things we have internally tended to attach to the Half-Life IP is innovation. Gameplay innovation is oftentimes enabled by technological innovation. Clearly there was a ton in Half-Life 1 and 2. And so yeah, it's an interesting challenge moving forward to think about what that means for future Half-Life stuff for sure.
The ending of Half-Life Alyx is somewhat a self-critical realization, so that was super satisfying, and all credit to the people who were specifically involved in that decision and those sets of design. I think that Half-Life represents a tool we have and promises made to customers to capitalize on innovation and opportunities to build game experiences that haven't been involved previously. And I think that there are no shortage of those opportunities facing us as an industry right now.